Today, I just posted in the Facebook group that I want to do some mirror work tonight. And so I'd love for everyone to take a moment and either grab a mirror. Does a phone camera work? Yeah, you could look at yourself in the phone camera like you're going to take a selfie. Yeah, you can do that. That'd work too. I want you guys to be looking at yourself while we just do some mirror work. It's important that when you look here, like practice looking at yourself and being like, it's not critical, right? Like it's not against, it's not fighting, it's not judging, it's not tearing down, it's not criticizing, but we're just going to do some mirror work together. And you absolutely can use the phone. Let me get my notes. Let me see. How was everybody's day? Like, I want to hear a high and a low. Tell me a high, tell me a low. I'm trying to think if I had a low today. I think my low was just being tired. And my high is getting to be on this call. It really is. It always is, every day. It's been a long new schedule at work. You work the night shift tonight? Wow. Night shifts. I've never had to do a night shift except for as a mom, like newborns up in the middle of the night kind of stuff. Yeah, I've been tired since the time change. Like, honestly, I haven't recouped from that yet, which is weird. I don't understand. It's not like I'm not getting enough sleep. So, you got a massage? Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you guys, I don't know who follows me on social media, but here's a little tip that I gave on one of my stories. If you're someone who struggles with like having needs and asking other people to meet your needs, a beautiful way to practice that is get a massage. Get a massage, and you have to use your voice to tell them when they're in the wrong spot. You have to use your voice to tell them a little higher, a little harder, a little less pressure, a little to the left. Could you keep concentrating on my elbow, please? Could you not do that? Thank you. Oh, that's really uncomfortable. Like that's actually really hard to do when you struggle in this area. Really hard to do. So I think a massage is a beautiful place to practice having a voice and need in the midst of a person who actually wants to meet your need, right? Like they're there. Every massage person I know loves the feedback, like a little hard. They want to do a good job. They're there to serve you. And so it's like such a safe place to practice that. And if that turns out to not be true and they're not really wanting to serve you, then that's their problem. That's not on you. And you still get to practice your voice in the midst of that and having needs. Yeah. Okay. Something else I want to share that was on my heart. I was talking to a client this week, and has a really strong inner critic. And I was talking to her about how to deal with that. And one of the things that was interesting that came up was, and I don't know that I've ever said this, I've just known it and done it for myself. But when you're dealing with the inner critic, actually the tool of logic works really well. When you're dealing with your inner child, you need to do compassion and validation, right? And let me break that down a little bit for you. For instance, when it's the inner critic beating you up, right? Like, I'll just use the example of driving. Let's say I almost caused an accident. My inner critic wants to kick in and tell me how shitty of a driver I am and how wrong I am and how, how could you do that? I can't believe, like you're so stupid, like all the things that the inner critic will say, right? And so for that, I would use logic and I would say, no, I'm not a bad driver. The truth is, I'm actually in a hurry. And the thing that I can own right now is that I was in a hurry. I'm actually a good driver when I'm not in a hurry. So I don't accept that label of bad driver. And so I just use logic for that, right? For the voice of the inner critic. For the inner child, when the inner child is, let's say, I almost cause an accident and I end up in a panic attack. That requires compassion. That requires validation, right? And so I would have to make room for myself to be kind to myself and be like, yeah, we almost had an accident. That was so scary. I'm so sorry. And you were in that accident before, or, your cousin had that bad accident and she got a brain injury from it. And I know like that triggered that fear right now, but you're safe. You're going to be okay. Do you guys see the difference? And so make sure you're using love and compassion and validation for the inner child and the triggers and those moments that you're in pain. But when you're beating yourself up with the inner critic, it's okay to use logic. Now, I don't like you logicking your emotions. I don't want you to logic when you have shame. I don't want you to logic the fact that you're struggling or logic your pain. We don't want you logicking those things because you've been doing that all your life and it's not worked. But when it comes to the inner critic and the voice that tells you, wants to beat you up in those moments, it's good to remind that person, that critic, how they're a liar and it's not true. That voice doesn't need compassion. And oftentimes that voice is the internalized voice of our parents, our wounded parents, and the internalization that we take from either things that they said or the absence of things that they could have said. So, okay. All right. So mirror work. I don't want to take up a ton of time, but I just want to do a little bit of practice with mirror work, introduce you guys to that. I'm so glad. Logicking. Yeah. Logicking. I want you guys to get either your phone, you can look at your phone. And if you want to, yeah, just look in your phone. I was going to let you have an out and tell you can turn off your video, but I'm wondering if too, let me see. Can you pin your own video on Zoom? You can. So that's something else you can do right now. You could pin your own video on the screen and that would make your video the bigger one. And that's who you're going to see. So let's do that. And then that way you guys don't have to go and figure out a mirror and all that. That'll be fine. But I'd love for you guys to practice this stuff in the mirror. Okay. So you're all already muted. I want you to look at yourself and really just look at yourself, okay? If you're in a distractible place, I want you to find a space that's more quiet and private. And I just want you to really look at yourself. The person in that mirror has feelings and hopes and dreams. The person in that mirror has been through a lot. They've been neglected and abused and hurt. The person in the mirror has also experience joy and love. The person in that mirror, I'm gonna call it a mirror. I know we're in a video screen, but I'm gonna call it a mirror. The person in the mirror needs you to be on their team. The person in the mirror needs you to stop using comparison as a tool to keep you safe. I want you to look at yourself, and we're going to repeat a little bit of the work we did last week. I want you to say out loud 3 words that describe yourself, coming from yourself. And they have to be kind. All of these words have to be kind. Three words. Say them out loud while looking at yourself. It doesn't have to be about looks. It can be about character. Now I want you to say 3 words that other people, kind words that other people use to describe you, that you've actually heard people say. People say, and then fill in the blank. People say you're, fill in the blank. Okay. Keep looking at yourself, even in the silence and the times I'm not talking. Stay connected to that. I want you now to give 3 words that God says about you. Okay. Repeat after me. I am on your team. You are worthy of fighting for. For those of you who don't fully believe that, you can say, I'm learning that you're worthy to fight for. It's not too late. It's not too late for love. It's not too late for truth. It's not too late for freedom. You are enough. You are not alone. And you are not too much. I will fight for you. I will listen. You are not a child anymore. You are not stuck. You have choices. You get to choose what you want to believe about yourself, about others, and about God. You get to choose what you partner with. You are powerful. You have what it takes. I believe in you. I will protect you. I will lean on the Lord for protection. You can trust me. I can trust you. We are so good at hearing from God. Now I want to walk you guys through some forgiveness. For some of you, this may not apply. You can just keep looking at yourself. If you don't feel like it's true for you, don't repeat it. Just keep looking at yourself, giving yourself that attention. Give yourself the attention. So important. I want you to forgive yourself. Repeat after me. I forgive myself for going back to unhealthy situations. I forgive myself for self-sabotaging. This is a good one. Really let this sink in. I forgive myself for not leaving sooner. I forgive myself for judging you, for agreeing with others' judgments. I forgive myself for not being perfect. I want you to actually change that. I forgive you for not being perfect. For those who struggle with resentment, I forgive you for holding a grudge. I forgive you for not trying harder. I forgive you for betraying your values. I forgive you for risking your peace. I forgive you for not always being your best self. I forgive you for not speaking up when you had a chance. I forgive you for making the same mistakes. I forgive you for trying to control. I forgive you for operating in your amygdala response. I forgive you for fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, whatever is yours, guys. I no longer hold against you your mistakes. There is no shame here. There is no judgment. You will do better. You can do better. And I believe in you. And I will not let what happened to you as a kid happen to you again. Because we are powerful now. And we have choices. And we are not stuck. So Lord, I just pray for each and every woman on this call and any woman who watches this later for just a sealing of their identity, a sealing of their comfort with themselves, a sealing of that love that you have for them, that they could have that same love toward themselves, that it's not selfish and it's not out there, but it's absolutely how you created it to be, that we would love ourselves as our neighbor, as ourselves, and it would be a combination of how we were created for love, a giving and a receiving, and a giving and a receiving. I thank you, God, that you would magnify and purify our ability to receive love from ourselves. I am the gateway. We are the gateway of the love that we get to receive, Lord. I thank you for changing our belief systems that block us from receiving love. Let us change our belief systems that block us from receiving love. Because you fought for that. You wanted that for us, that we would be loved. And in being loved, we would become love for others. Wow. Being loved and becoming love. Being loved and becoming love. It reminds me, Lord, of the ocean and standing on the seashore where the waves come in and wash over, and then they pull back, and they wash over, and then they pull back. Thank you, God, for washing over us, helping us receive love and becoming love. We just say yes to you. We say yes to love. We say yes to the process. We say no to the lies. We say no to failure, no to control. Those things don't exist. There's nothing wasted in you. So any failure actually isn't failure. It's just fuel or something used to learn. Like it's a gift of learning. So Lord, help us to view failure differently. Help us to have compassion on ourselves the same way we can have compassion for others. I just thank you for breakthrough. I thank you for breakthrough. I thank you for breakthrough. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So Kathy asked the question of how do you discern between inner critic voice and the voice of the accuser, Satan? Such a good question. And I have to say, like, my point of view is going to be a little different. And I feel like this is going to be hard to explain. Hopefully I'll explain it. Here's the simplest way that I can explain it. I feel like the enemy, the accuser, has dropped a bomb of what it looks like and blown up our worlds, right? And then he's left the equipment and the tools and all of that behind for us to use against ourselves and against people we love. So I don't always feel like it's the voice of the accuser coming as much as like there's like a spirit out in the world, and I can be influenced by that, or I can not be influenced by it, or I can choose into being influenced by God's spirit. Yeah, this is so hard for me to articulate because I know what I think. It's like this. I feel like I don't feel like the devil's coming to me and whispering in my ear. Okay. I don't think he's like, ooh, you did such a crappy job on that. That's so bad. How awful are you? You're such a bad this, you're such a bad that. That's not how I feel it. It's more of like I already have all the mixings and makings of the accuser from my experience and growing up and all the things that have happened to me, that I can tap into a space where the accuser has left a remnant and a residue for me to partake in and eat of and chew on if I choose that. Or I could tap into something else. And so I've told this story before, but I'll just share it again. I was one time beating myself up so bad about something. I was bad at, man, I used to beat myself up so bad. It was really awful. I would criticize and compare and tear myself down. There was nothing that I never thought I did anything good. And so I was in one of those moments after reading the Bible, and that religious thing was just beating me up, right? More accusation was coming at my heart than anything else, than any truth was from the Bible at this time. And I went to God in prayer and I started repenting and beating myself up like, oh, I'm so God that I suck at this and I'm not good at that. And I did this wrong and I wish I would have this. And he goes, yeah, Melanie, that's right. That's right. You actually don't need God or the devil. You don't need me or the devil because you've got it all handled on both sides. You are your accuser and your savior. And so I had so much control where I would try to save everything and fix everything and help everything. And I had so much accusation going on in my head and in my heart and in my life trying to fix it. Like my tool to fix everything was accusation, was criticizing, was blame. And so I chose that. That was the tool that I used because I believed the lie that if I was hard enough on myself, it would change my behavior and I would act different. And it wasn't true. Love. We cannot expect hatred or accusation or blame to do the work that only love can. I mean, think about it. If those things worked, God would have used those things. But God chose love. Right? Like the thing that changes our life is love. So I don't focus on the devil. If like he's a non thing to me. I'm like not really worried about the devil. I don't think the devil has as much access to me as I used to. I used to think the devil always had access to me. But the truth was, I was doing the devil's job just fine without him. And so I just needed to get love in. I needed to agree with love over my life. I needed to stop using those tools of self-hatred and shame and start accessing love and validation and compassion and the truth about what God says about me and loves about me. God corrects me. Don't get me wrong. Like I've been corrected by God. I've been taken to the woodshed by the Lord. And that hurts. Like that hurts, but it never looks like accusation. It never looks like blame. It never looks like shame. Not ever. Not ever. So as far as like the inner critic, like oftentimes that inner critic is just that internalization, right, of our parents' voice, our wounded parents, parents who had their own struggles and issues. So our wounded parents' voice comes at us audibly, and then we filter that and we internalize it and we make a decision about who we are from it. That's what I mean when I say we internalize it, right? We bring it in, we assimilate it, we make a decision about ourselves based on this information coming at us. Okay. That's, you unravel that stuff, you won't have to worry about the devil. He doesn't have as much access to you as you think. Okay, let's coach. This is so fun. Okay. Who's first? Where's my pen? I don't want this one. Here we go. I want this one. Look at my elbow patches. Somebody said, you are really weird. Actually, it was Sammy. I went for a walk with Sammy and she's like, you are so weird. I was like, I know. Don't you love it? You're the one who invited me for a walk. I didn't say that to her, but oh, it's so funny. Did you guys ever call up somebody and go, okay, Miss Williams, you're first, by the way, but do you ever call up somebody and go, whisper at them? Like, do that. If you ever want to like trip people out, just call them and be like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Why am I whispering? Yeah, well, because I just feel like it. And then just talk to them. It's so fun. I do it to my kids and they're like, God, you're so weird. Anyway. Hey girl, you ready? Miss Williams?
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good, yeah. Doing good.
Good. Yeah, so my cat passed away a couple weeks ago, and that's been really hard. Because she was my cat since I was like 5 years old.
Since you were 5?
Yeah. And like she was my kitty, my baby, and I was her favorite. So it's just been like really hard just because yeah, I just like lost a really good friend in my life. So
oh, baby girl, I'm so sorry. That's so hard.
Yeah.
Was it sudden?
What'd you say?
Was it sudden?
Yeah. Well, she was like almost 17, and so like she was already kind of going downhill a little bit, but she'd lived for so long, I was like, she was totally gonna stick it out until like 19, but she stopped eating, and then we took her into the vet to see what was wrong, and then the day that we got the results like on a Monday night at like 6:30, and then we had to put her down the next day at 4:30. So it was like really fast. Yeah, it was really sad that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been really hard, and I feel like throughout the grieving process, I just have been like so afraid of just every day, just so afraid of like not doing it well, or like not caring for my heart the way that I need to be cared for. And like there's so many emotions going on in me that like I feel like it's just like I'm constantly afraid that I'm gonna like my heart's just plain in pain, and like I'm just want to help it as much as I can, but and like grieve it as much as possible, and everything. And I've like talked to friends about it, and I don't know, I just feel like in this constant state of stress and fearing not giving myself the space that I need, because I feel like I'm the only one fighting for that grieving, because my family is done grieving. And so I feel like I need to hold on to it and like take care of myself. So I don't know if that like, if, you know, that's a deep wound, or if like I've been trying to give it into God's hands and trust that he's like my healer, and he's gonna heal my heart and everything, and that he's taking care of me in this process. It's just like that's what's going on, and I want to like just rest and trust that, you know, even if I don't think about her for a day, that that it's gonna be okay. But I guess I'm just afraid of hurting my heart, and that So I'm just constantly debating, like, what do I do? Do I look at old pictures or yeah.
Is this a pattern in your family where you need to grieve a little longer or have more emotions about something, but they've already moved on, and so they're not able to like deal with that with you because they don't know how to?
Well, yeah, I definitely like am the person in my family um who believes the strongest that emotions are good and that it's okay to feel things. My mom has been like sitting with me some nights when I really like ask her to like listen and not try to fix me, and like ask her if we can talk about Twinkle, my cat, and stuff. So that's been good. And she's been like,
Oh, what a cute name.
yeah, I named her after Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Oh, because you were 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so precious.
Yeah.
A little 5-year-old naming her kitty. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So cute. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's been like with me when I ask her to be. But otherwise it feels like, my parents give me a hug and then they're happy go lucky all the time, and not always like sitting with me in the pain. Feels like they want to be positive about it and stuff. Because they're positive about it. They're like, I'm glad that she's out of her pain and everything. So, but I'm like just sad that she's gone still.
Yeah. Well, she's out of her pain, but you're in yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close your eyes.
Okay.
I just want you to pay attention to your body right now. Where are you tense? Pay attention to that. And then I want you to, if you're tense in an area, I want you to try to tighten it up even tighter and then let it go. Like shoulders, if you're tight in your shoulders, like pull them up tight and then let them go. And then over exaggerate, pull them up tight, and then let them go. Tighten your neck, move it around. I just want you to pay attention to how things feel. Is there anything tingly? Is there anything hurting? Is there anything? Can you feel the air of the fan on your skin? Just notice. I want you to put your hand on your heart and your hand on your stomach. One on your heart, one on your stomach. And I want you to take a breath in. And as you're breathing out, I want you to say, you're safe here.
You're safe here.
Safe here. Repeat it. You're safe here.
You're safe here.
When no one else sits with you, I will sit with you.
When no one else sits with you, I will sit with you.
I won't be frustrated in your pain.
I won't be frustrated in your pain.
You're allowed to grieve.
You're allowed to grieve.
I am so good at letting grief be present.
I am so good at letting grief be present.
And I'm so good at letting grief leave when it's ready.
And I'm so good at letting grief leave when it's ready.
I want you to just sit for a second and just let whatever comes come. And if you have a pain in your body, focus on that pain and just sit with it. Let it be. No need to fix. Just let it be. Hayden, I'm sorry you don't have your kitty to pet when you're stressed out and sad and lonely. Like, that makes me want to cry. I'm really sorry you don't have Twinkle to be with you in times like this. That's real. That's so real. So real. It's important to feel that loss. Feeling the loss shows how much Twinkle mattered, right?
Yeah.
Feeling that loss is important.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel in your body right now after releasing some of that?
um Still a little tense, but like a lot more relaxed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So was your question in the beginning? What was your question in the beginning?
I guess it was just um like just constantly feeling afraid of how of like I guess not taking care of my heart like it needs to be taken care of, or giving myself this space that it needs, because I just don't want to bully my heart into getting over it if it's not over it, or if
Yeah.
it needs, but I also want to like give my heart the space that it needs
Mm-hmm.
to do other things and have breaks. And
Yeah.
so I've been really like stressed about that because yeah, just Twinkle meant so much to me that I
Mm-hmm.
want to grieve it because like you said, it just shows how valuable she was to me.
Yeah.
Um and I don't want to get over it quickly. I don't know, it's just been like kind of a wrestle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want you to trust yourself and your heart. Your heart's going to know what to do. And so you just giving this kind of space like we just took is going to be really, I think, all that you need, honestly. Like, you can trust yourself to know what you need. You can trust yourself. And what you're going to have to do is just block out all other voices for right now, because your cat just died, right? We're not talking about you're still in this place and it's a year later, right?
Yeah.
Like, this just happened. And so there's a process that you're allowed to have, and not everybody's going to be comfortable with that. And so you're just
Yeah.
going to have to block out the voices and not care if they think it should be different, right? Everyone's grieving process is different. And um, nobody can tell you how to grieve. And that's why I say follow your heart. There's creative ways that you can, that I think your heart would have on how to grieve. For some, there'll be artistic ways, for others, it might be like some sort of ceremony or ritual that you do, or things like that. I don't know. I don't want to like tell you how to grieve, but there's just so many different ways you can grieve.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a straight path, kind of.
Yeah. And it's not all tears and talking, right? Like one of the ways I grieve with my daughter when she lost her dog is I send her pictures when they pop up on my timeline. I'll just send her photos of Tucker and be like, he's in a box. We called him a cat dog because he acted more like a cat than he did a dog. And so it would be like, send her a picture that pops up on my timeline and it's like, here's the cat dog loving his box. I loved how much he loved boxes. And so those that's also part of grieving too, like the loss of that. But grief just can look so many different ways, and maybe you need a ceremony of some sort, where you create your own ceremony and get to say goodbye in a very special way.
Yeah.
But your heart will know.
Yeah.
You just have to trust it.
Yeah, thank you. It's
You're welcome.
encouraging. Like, even you saying 2 weeks is not, it like just happened and it's already been 2 weeks. Like, it's encouraging to hear that, because it feels like, oh, it's been 2 weeks, you should, be fine. But
Yeah. Who makes those decisions? I don't know who does that. It's like,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, nobody can make that decision for you. It's only you and your heart. And the more you let your heart have its process, the more it'll be able to let go.
Okay.
When it's time, you'll let go and you'll move on. And it'll be just a memory, but you're not ready for that yet. It's not time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, Hayden, you got so much love in the chat. I hope you check that out.
Okay. Thanks, Melanie.
Bye. Sorry, you made me cry with your kitty. Oh, I have a dog that's really old. He's going to be 17 this year. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm constantly waiting for him to die. I hate it. I try to pull myself out of that and just enjoy him while I have him. And so I'll pull him up my lap because he's not a lap dog.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I need to enjoy you while you're here. So yeah. So
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's rough.
so hard.
17 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Lacey H. Yeah, I just want to.
So I have two of them on here. It's me. I don't know if you can see that. I have double screen, so yeah. I just did that to ensure. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Hi. So that previous coaching was actually with that lady really was helpful for me because it's kind of similar. Okay. So I'll just say this. I'm trying to navigate through like two triggers. I'm pretty sure they're triggers, and it's really hard because my heart doesn't feel safe. I'll just say this. So I've been experiencing a lot of loss lately and a lot of mother pain as well. And my mother has two. So my mother, she around at the end of 2019, she took care of my grandma when she was going through cancer. And so she went to Orange County. I'm in Riverside, so it's like an hour away. And she went there for a full year to be like the primary caretaker. And after she passed in like October of that year, my grandpa passed like within 2 months, and he took his own life. And so that was just very traumatic, you know. And so we processed all through that. And my mom, she came home. She had about, 4 months with us. And then through this time, my uncle, my mom's brother, he moved. He got divorced, and he moved into that house that they had. And I never, sorry, this is probably a lot, but like, he moved into that house, and within like 3 months, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So then my mom went back to caretake and do the same thing over again, but more hectic and just a lot of stuff. And he just recently passed a few days ago. And so I'm used to, so I grieved that. It wasn't as bad. And with grief, it comes and goes, and it wasn't as effective because I was really close with my grandparents. But what I've realized is with my mom, she gaslights a lot. She's very emotional. I've never felt safe I'm a very emotional person too. And so I've been really triggered today as she's back, because I haven't had her. Like, I just don't feel safe. I feel like she can hear me through the walls, and she's very invasive. And I have so much compassion for her and stuff too, but it's like I have to have space for myself too, because she says she's always doesn't, when me and my siblings all know that's not true. Like with things, it's just, I'm really triggered, because it's like I have compassion because she did so much on her own trying to help my uncle, and she's going through a lot still. And it's just like, but emotions have never been safe with my mother, and I feel I can't go anywhere in my house. I feel like paranoid because I feel like she can hear me, and she'll just have a fit because she's always been like this for all of her life. And I feel like I can't, I'm always over open to her. I'm really open to her all the time. And I don't want to be, I've been trying to set boundaries, and it's just so hard because I hate confrontation, and I'm doing it. And it's just, I'm afraid I'm going to trigger her.
Lacey, do you recognize that?
It's a lot.
Do you recognize that you're over open to her because she trained you that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to close your eyes. I just want you to trust yourself for a moment. Yeah. And I want you to ask yourself this question, ask your heart this question, ask the Lord. I don't care who you ask. Okay. Ask them all, but you're going to trust yourself in this question. What am I owning that's not mine to own?
What am I owning that's not mine to own?
And tell me what you get.
I don't know. Emotional baggage and trust issues.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Have you ever have you had encounters with God and experienced that with him yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said emotional baggage, and what was the second thing?
Trust issues.
Trust issues. Okay. I want you to stay with your eyes closed. So you heard emotional baggage and trust issues. I want you to see that this was given to you. This is actually a generational thing. This was given and passed down to you. Can you connect that?
Yeah, I can just see a big sack of emotional baggage on my shoulder, like someone slinging it over.
Okay. And the trust issues, what do those look like?
When you said that though, I just see letters, tons of letters just falling down.
Okay.
Just like singular, like just letters just falling down like a fountain.
Okay. Okay. So stay there, stay connected there. I want you to invite the Lord into this moment. And I think he's asking you, what do you want to do with these?
Throw them out the window.
Okay. Do you want to throw them out the window, or do you want him to throw them out the window?
That's a good question. I think I want to, because like through the triggers, I just feel angry and frustrated. Like I just don't know what to do with it, and I can't blow up at her face with this. And I've been wanting to, as part of my question, is just I just want to, like, when I was younger, I had so much anger because I didn't know what to do with it because of all this stuff, emotional baggage. And I just out of anger, I just want to throw it and break the freaking window,
It's not yours, Lacey.
Yeah.
Even if you act out in it, it's actually not yours. This is something that's been passed down to you. So I want you to throw it out the window. Emotional baggage and trust issues were passed down to you. It's projected onto you. It's a learned behavior. It's a generational passing down.
Yeah.
That it's not something that is actually yours. Like, I feel so strongly about this with you, Lacey. Don't own it. The question I asked you to ask was, what am I owning that's not mine to own? Right?
Yeah.
Don't own this. It's not yours.
Yeah. It's like an icky feeling, like when my mom came back, it just felt, I always feel so stressed, and like I'm always like in my survival mode.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, baby girl. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that your mom used tactics of manipulation and she projected her stuff onto you. That she didn't know how to go on a process to heal her own pain. And so she just acts out, tries to get her needs met through you and the family. I'm really proud of you for going on this journey. I'm really proud of you for being a breaker of generational curses. I'm really proud of you for doing the work. I'm really proud of you for taking the time to connect to this, to let the Lord show you things, to ask yourself the hard questions, and to take the time to listen. I'm really proud of you. It is not going to be for nothing. Even if your mother never changes, it won't be for nothing. You will be a different kind of mother. This stops with you. It will not pass on to your children. What you're doing matters. I'm so sorry it feels out of control. It is out of control. It's absolutely out of your control. I'm sorry that mom's atmosphere is very difficult to breathe in. It's very suffocating. Yeah. I want you to throw those things out the window. Do you see yourself doing that?
A few minutes ago, I did it, and it was so loud, the crashing was so good. But I saw it go really high out my window here. And then I saw like a hand, it could be God, just like taking out gems or stones out of it though, which is weird. But yeah. And I felt like just like a minute ago when you're talking, like whatever it was I was receiving, that I don't know what it was you're saying, but I just felt like I was taking something. I was like, I take it then, like the good, not, I don't know what it was, but I took like this small like sackcloth of something.
Beautiful. Yes, girl.
Oh my God.
Ask
Just
the
sitting
Lord.
in that.
I want you to ask the Lord what the sackcloth was. Ask him what it was.
God, what was I felt like I immediately just heard inheritance.
Inheritance. You can trust yourself. You can trust yourself more than anyone else. That's actually a good process. Anything the Lord is going to do to try to access you, he will talk to you first.
Yeah.
He really will. And so outside access is just for confirmation, really.
I just feel so like, I guess because I live with my parents, I'm turning 22 and I can't really, I feel like I have no space of my own right now.
Yeah.
That I could process these emotions when my mom's here, because it just doesn't feel safe. She invades all the time. And I guess, yeah, I just, is there anything you think I could do while I'm in this season, I guess, to feel safer, or if there's anywhere I can go physically in my house? I don't have a car, so I don't know. Kind of.
So
yeah.
Your mom, let me see if I'm catching this right. You live at home. Mom just comes to into your room. You have no space. She does what she wants.
I mean, she'll knock on the door. She does come in without knocking sometimes, but it's not like always roaming in my room, but she's always asking questions and trying to get answers out of me that I don't want to answer. Or it's,
Have you ever practiced with her saying, I actually don't want to talk about that right now? Is that okay?
I have. I've had mixed reviews. It depends, she'll get emotional or butthurt about it, or she will surprisingly understand, which is really rare. Or yeah.
And when you ask her, or when you tell her that you don't want to talk about it and she gets upset, what does it look like at that point?
Oh, I instantly just see, like, she pouts, or she'll have a physical cue to know. They'll know by her facial expression and how she, like, is sounding immediately that she manipulates a lot. So she would pout, and she withdraws things sometimes, love, or just in a situation she will stop, or I mean in the conversation she will stop and withdraw, and then show you through her physical, the way she interacts and stuff, that she's hurt, that she's the one it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, and you did this, and this, like super sensitive.
Yeah. Some of the things that I've done with adults that do that is I see them as children. But I no longer see an adult in front of me. I don't see my dad. I don't see, when my dad would do that stuff, I wouldn't see my dad. I'd see a little kid. And then I would take the position as the adult. And I would say, just like I would to a little kid, right? Who's trying to get his way and throw a fit. I'm sorry, this is really hard for you. It's not personal. This is just what I need right now.
Right. Yeah.
And
I've done
that.
I've done that. Sorry, I don't want to interject, but I've
No,
done
no.
that. And I feel like I've done that so much so that I'm tired of being the grown up, where I just want to have a fit again and just be angry because I'm so angry and frustrated. It's like, the good sense in me, my more is like, there's a part of me that's about to break, like today, you know.
Well, Lacey, what
Being
happens
around
if you make a mess? Like, so throw the fit. What would happen?
Well, I live with her, so it's like never like just more manipulation and more like talking about me through dad. And just people, even Facebook, I hate it. She talks about us, and it's not even like, you know, that's where she gets her.
Have you ever told her not to, that she's not allowed to talk about you? Have you ever put a boundary on her?
I've not like that, like ownership, or like, I don't know, I said that, but I would say like, I was like, why would you say that? Like, it's really not, like, why are you saying about my business and my adult brother's business as well, who's like 30, you
Yeah.
know, like that's not yours to share.
What does she say?
And she said, well, I'm talking to my friend about it, and why would this like affect you, you know?
Yeah.
And
Why
like,
does it affect you, Mom, that you need to talk about it?
yeah.
So, Mom, what needs are getting met in you? Like, you have needs that you're getting met, and I'm being put on the altar of your need. Sounds like, Mom. So you have a couple choices here. One is you keep pushing, and Mom's gonna keep doing this, right? And so it really is about what's best for you, not what's best for Mom at this point. If you've been confronting Mom and it's not going anywhere, then you need very strong boundaries. Very strong boundaries.
Yeah. I care
Very.
too much. It's
Yeah.
like I'm an empath, so I've been trying to like give God all the stuff that feels like too much because I internalize a whole lot and
And your
take it personally.
empath gifting is just trauma showing up. Like, all of us who are empaths, that was forged as a child when we had to read a room, learn how to read a room and figure out, are people safe? Are they okay? Do I need to meet a need? Do I need to fawn over them? Do I need to help them? Do I need to hide? Do I need to run? What do I need to do? And so, like, our empath stuff is just our trauma response, honestly. Now, it's our superpower. My empath stuff helps me all the time, but my empath stuff, I don't let it torment me, right?
Right.
And so, how can you turn that to your benefit where you're not taking on Mom's stuff? This is a definite need for like a separation of you and her, but she wants you to stay connected to her. She needs you to stay connected to her. She needs that lifeline. Has any of your other siblings confronted her?
My sister. Yeah. She lives in Reading for the past 6 years, and she's done heart stuff, and so it's like, you know, I've seen her put up her own boundaries in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she still comes at a place where she can still, you know, bring love to my parents.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's okay that your process isn't going to look like your sister. And, you know, because you're not your sister. Your situation isn't like your sister's, right? You do live there. And so there is that dynamic of difficulty where you're navigating, okay, I live with them, and at the same time, I'm an adult, right? And I need my own space, and I need to feel like an adult. And so making those, like, finding out what you need and asking for it and seeing what happens. Have you ever thrown a fit with your parents?
Oh yeah, when I was younger. And yeah, like 8, 9, 10. My mom would always talk about how I was making fits, but like I was so angry because of all that emotional stuff that was just not getting dealt with, and all that stuff I didn't realize was happening. And yeah, I was always so angry because there was no emotional freedom. Yeah, because emotions weren't safe back then.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's kind of like, so here's your emotions, right? Like if we say this is your atmosphere, right? And then mom wants you to be responsible for her emotions too. And it's like when mom's stuff is louder than your own, you don't even get the time to figure out what it is you have need of, what your triggers are, what is here, like what's mine, right? Like I need to figure out what's mine. And so it gets very complicated and overwhelming. So overwhelming. And your nervous system, Lacey, is in, just even some of the language you used about feeling like mom can hear through the walls and, like no privacy, that like there's a lot of, you're hyper vigilant, like you're turned on, you're aware, you're hyper aware. I want you to just sit there and kind of like pay attention to your body, kind of like I did with Hayden. Where are you tight? Just tighten those things up. If your legs are tight, tighten your legs really tight and then let them go slowly. Tighten them up. Let it go slowly.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. I am not responsible for my mother's emotions.
I'm not responsible for my mother's emotions.
I am not responsible for her thoughts and opinions.
I'm not responsible for her thoughts and opinions.
I cannot control my mother.
I cannot control my mother.
I can't behave well enough to control her.
I cannot behave well enough to control her.
I can't spend enough time with her to control her.
I can't spend enough time with her to control her.
I can't tell her the right things and let her into all of my life.
I can't tell her the right things and let her into all of my life.
And have it control her.
And have it control her.
She's not happy because she's not happy.
She's not happy because she's not happy.
Has nothing to do with me.
Has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Her unhappiness started with her.
Her unhappiness started with her.
And it ends with her.
And it ends with her.
I am not responsible.
I am not responsible.
I love my mother.
I love my mother.
But I am not responsible.
And I am not responsible.
Love doesn't mean sacrificing all of me.
Love doesn't mean sacrificing all of me.
Mom's not always right.
Mom is not always right. Heck no, she isn't.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I want you to ask the Lord, Lord, will you take everything that I'm carrying that belongs to my mother and give it back to her?
Yeah. God. Yeah, will you just take all that I'm carrying that's my mother's, that is not mine?
Give it back to her.
And will you give it back to her?
Yes, God.
Did you say something?
I just said, yes, God. Ask the Lord, what is it that you gave back?
To her.
Yeah.
God, what was it that you gave back to her? Internal needs.
Internal needs. Nice. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, maybe what she needs. I don't know. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. This is so good. All right. I want you to ask the Lord to go to your mother and take back everything she's holding that actually belongs to you. I call it back. I call it back to you, Lacey. I call it back in the name of Jesus. Everything that mom's holding, it comes back to you. In Jesus' name, it's a work of the Spirit. It is a work of trust that right now the Lord is going and he's taking back everything that mom has been holding back and holding on to. It's yours. It comes back to you in Jesus' name.
Yeah. Yeah. I just see her though, like where I saw her early, like I just see her like hoarding like her china, her special stuff. And she's just like, no.
Yeah. She can't stop it.
Yeah.
She can try, but she won't be able to.
Okay. God, I ask you to just take back everything my mom's holding that is mine, that is rightfully mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if this could be something, but it's weird. I'm very visual, but yeah. I feel like he did take it from her, and then it's like weird white stuff. Like it's just, and then it like fell like sand. It all immersed. It all disintegrated into sand, and then there's just one china piece chunk,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ask him what it is you got back.
Yeah. God, what it is that I got back. I'm still questioning, sorry, but dignity, strength, and courage.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel like I first heard dignity. I don't know why, but I
love that. Okay. I want you to I feel like you got some amazing spiritual work done, and absolutely like this is just so exciting. Okay. When you're encountering your mother, I feel like one of the things that God got from you and gave back to your mom, right? That you're giving back to your mom. He said internal needs, right?
Yeah.
When you're encountering your mom and you're feeling that press and you're feeling that oppression from her and that pull on you, ask yourself, is this an internal need? It's going to help your psyche and that over responsibility part of you, let it go because you just had this encounter with God.
Yeah.
So you get to let go. If the answer is yes in that moment, you let it go, not your responsibility. That's the cutoff. When we're talking about how do you cut yourself off from being responsible, this is a key God just gave you. Ask yourself in that moment when she's pulling on you and doing her thing, whatever it looks like, just ask yourself, ask the Lord inside of yourself, is this an internal need? If the answer is yes, it's not your responsibility because you gave that back to her.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Vice versa. Okay. In the same moment, ask, What is trying to be taken from me right now?
Mm.
Is it my dignity? Is it my courage? Is it my strength?
Yeah.
I bet you can look back and see many times over in scenarios with your mom where those things were trying to be robbed of you and actually were probably taken at times.
Yeah. Oy. Yep. Yeah.
So good.
Is it okay to be that's the thing. It's like I always feel like I have to be over responsible. That's the past now, but
Yeah.
you know, like just to be a kid sometimes, because she's the one that's a kid, and it's like I feel like I care too much for her too. It's like, well, I don't want to get a fit like I did when I was a kid because she deemed me like a monster, like I did all this. So it's like, is it okay when I'm emotionally triggered to just let it out that way? Because I don't know how else to let it out, to show her the pain. I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to go anywhere, but it's
Right.
like I'm so angry sometimes. Like I talk it out, and I feel like I've given her so many opportunities with understanding too much, I feel. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I personally like I think when we have that over responsibility and that constant editing of ourself in the midst of someone else who's constantly making a mess, constantly exploding, constantly out of control, that sometimes removing the editing is the breakthrough. Right. And so you're going to have to ask your heart and the Lord in those moments, can I throw fit? I believe there's no mess that can be made that can't be cleaned up. And, I have a ton of tools. Okay. I have a ton of tools. It can work against me. So, like in my marriage, I can be like, I'm not going to be the understanding one right now. You have to be the understanding one right now. I get to throw the fit. Like, I get to be the bad guy and be upset. I'm choosing into this. And now it is a choice, right? Like it is a choice. But sometimes you need to make that choice because you need to be messy in order to get to the heart of the matter. Especially when you're constantly editing yourself. Making a mess sometimes is the thing, like throwing it all up and throwing it out there and making a mess, and then you can see what's really there on the floor, and you're like, oh, boom, there it is. Now that we got it all out, because I'm not constantly, it's kind of like if I had a bunch of stuff and there was this little tiny thing that I was trying to find inside of all the stuff. It was clothes and it was different things that I was holding. If I throw them all out onto the floor, it's going to be easier to find the little tiny thing instead of trying to like constantly move the clothing around. And I keep missing the little thing because it gets wrapped up just perfectly every time I flip over the mess, right? So it comes to that point where it's like, is this one of those moments that I need to trust myself to clean up a mess instead of worrying about making a mess?
Right. Yeah. Always used to be so self-conscious. She's going to be so affected. I'm never going to hear the end of it from her. And it's just like, is it worth going through that to have to hear her stuff overboard again?
And then again, you could be like, hey, Mom, you're not allowed to bring this up over and over again. And when you do, I'm going to call you out on it. You're not allowed. This is the thing that bullies need. Bullies need like they need pushed back. Typically, a bully keeps being a bully because they're allowed and nobody has properly pushed back on them. And I know bullies need bullies. I know it sounds terrible. That's why I started to change it. They need pushed back though. I used to be a bully. I'm speaking from experience. Okay. And I used to deal with bullies all the time as a kid. And I always noticed when you stood up to them, then they were put in their place. They were just like, oh, I just needed someone to challenge it. Nobody's challenged it.
Yeah, I've always challenged it, just never to that point. But I did more when I was a kid.
Yeah. See, and so this is little Lacey who's afraid. That's what this is. Little Lacey who was hurt by Mom when by calling you a monster, right? Like, and so this is where you got to show up for little Lacey, and you do some mirror work around that issue where you're like, hey, I am here for you. You are not a monster. You just had needs. And you just compassionately go after that with yourself, where you validate throwing fits, that you were misunderstood, right? This
Yeah.
is the stuff that you need to hear from you, because you're going to be the one to stand up to mom.
So good.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing? Just the oversharing. I feel like I overshare with her too. So it's like,
Oh,
is
yes.
there any idea like how I can make a boundary with that? Because I overshare with her my process, even here sometimes. But I have boundaries to where it's like I won't share to this point, but I like sharing because I'm so used to it. So it's like, well, she's gonna see that's just instantly cut off, and like, but I got to get through that somehow so I can be more free and set something, you know?
Yeah. You can absolutely set boundaries with her. I think my first question is, what need is getting met for you when you overshare with mom?
Oh, to be seen, to be noticed, just to talk to her about this and share the goodness or whatever's going on. And she's done the same with us, which is kind of unhealthy though for a child point,
It
you
is.
know? And I know that's a generational thing, but
Yeah. Is there anything there to prove, like by oversharing with mom, you're proving that you're a good girl?
I don't know. I think no, but I think she thinks that.
Mm-hmm.
I think she believes that because that means I'm connecting with her, even though it might still not be enough because it's never enough. But, you know, I think with that, you know, it's just there's something there that's like getting a need met from me, I think, because I'm used to it too. I'm used to always being an open gate and being the best I can. It kind of sounds like a good girl, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll still challenge her though, and I'll still fight for my own voice.
Right.
I think this is just more levels of that, and it's scary because it's like yeah, I guess so, because like I still want to be a good girl in her eyes, and it's so hard ripping off that when you're actually in truth just trying to find more freedom and remember the truth of who God says you are in that, even though she might not see that truth of God's truth of that. I'm like, I'm not a monster. I'm not trying to do this to you. Like, I wish you could see me. I guess I've just strived to just, you know,
still trying to prove to her that you're a good girl. Like little Lacey is still there trying to say, I'm not a monster.
Wow.
Understand me, see me. I just have needs. I was just afraid. I was just sad. You know,
I do that all the time. Oh my God. I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, now that I can see how I've done that, you know, and that it feels like stepping over a boundary on myself, because it's like you just let mom walk all over you and give you this love, giving her this leverage of, well, I shared this with her, so that must mean she must think I'm just open to having to share her with her other things too. And
and
it's like, no, I don't want that, because then it's just more hurt, you know, more stepping over boundaries and doing horrible things like she's done, you know.
I might bring my daughter back on again, and because she does live with me, and since she's been going through her divorce, and there might be some things that we could share just to like what it looks like for her process, like internally, right? There's an internal process that you have when you're laying boundaries with people, when you're used to always giving them open access. And so I'll talk to her about coming back on with me again and see if maybe that'll bring some aha moments or something. You did so good, Lacey.
Thank you so much just for, I don't know, coaching me the way you did. I think I so needed this because it's like I felt so alone in it. Like, oh.
You're not crazy, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're not crazy. Oh, thank you for sharing. That was really good. Okay, next. Alexandra, are you still here?
Hi.
Alexandra Silva. Hi. How are you?
I'm here, ready.
I'm
Always
here.
ready for Tuesday.
Aw, me too. I also do Mondays now too, though.
Oh, nice.
I thought about.
Kind of, sort of new, like been here for a month, so still learning the schedule. But
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm really thankful for what you shared earlier about protection and just like even how like with the mirror and just even like with overcoming like control stuff, because that's what God has really been working on with me. And I'm holding on to the wheel because I've been very like anxiety ridden and kind of shook up. But the Lord's been like highlighting to me what the root is, like that I've been afraid of being out of control in relationships. And so that's why I've been so isolated. And so I'm holding on to the wheel for dear life, but that's okay. It's like a grounding technique. But yeah, so the Lord has brought me back to the abuse experience that I went to when I was 16 years old and in a vehicle. And so I really want my car to be like a safe place. I was abused in another vehicle. It was the first time that I was ever alone with a guy. So I was dating someone and I was dating somebody. It was the first time that I was alone. He came and picked me up from my house and I was underage and he was overage. And so what had happened was like, we would like do stuff like with his mom. He had two moms. And so like we would go on adventures and do stuff and they'd pick me up from the house. But the first time that I ever got into the car with him, he was like, "Oh, I have a surprise for you today." And so he took me to Subway and then drove me to the middle of nowhere in Shasta Lake, California, up by Redding. And he raped me in his truck. I don't remember anything. Like the Lord told me, because I'm processing through this, because God wants me to be a testimony to my community. And I really want to be able to learn how to share, but like it feels very raw. And so I want to practice in a safe place. But yeah, so I don't remember the car ride home. All that I remember was like God told me when I was processing like for the healing experience, he told me that he was praying for the car to show up because it was in the middle of nowhere, like by like a ditch area, like a windy road thing where like a turn. And so he orchestrated a car, and as soon as the car came, a spirit of panic came upon him and he got freaked out. This like crazy fear freaked him out. And so I just remember him driving off really fast, and I don't remember anything about the car ride home. All I remember was that I got home, and then I didn't talk to my parents about this for 7 years. So I just kept it all to myself, and I ended up sharing with like a couple people. But yeah, I still get flashbacks. Yesterday I had a flashback, and that's why I'm feeling really jittery right now. But I just really want to love my 16-year-old self. I'm about to be 26. And so now that I'm like entering into a new decade, like I want to be able to move forward because my dream was shattered. Like I wanted to be a virgin until I was married, and I lost my virginity via rape. And so that's also why I was fearing like the loss of control, because my dreams were lost twice that way. I had a traumatic injury, so I couldn't play college softball when I wanted to. And so that was completely out of control. I graduated high school in a wheelchair. And so those two losses were the biggest losses that I've had. And so I wanted to like get healthy to the point where like hopefully I could be married someday and stuff, but I know that I have to work past this if I ever want to get to that point. And I know that I'm not ready, but I want to like confront this because I want to be ready. And I just want to love myself. Like healing feels really far away. It feels really far to be married. It feels really far to feel safe and not anxiety ridden, but I just want to love myself in the fear because I hated myself in the fear before, and I got drunk in the fear before. And I just want to learn how to be okay with myself when other people aren't there for me in fear, except God and me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I want you to let's just connect a little bit. Okay. I also want you to put your hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly. And try to ground there. I want you to feel your body and how it feels against the seat. Feel your feet, feel your legs, feel your arms, feel your torso. Feel the way your hands feel on your body. And I want you to say, this is a safe place.
This is a safe place.
I am safe here.
I am safe here.
I can trust myself.
I can trust myself.
I'm learning to trust myself more.
I am learning to trust myself more.
I'm learning that I am safe.
I am learning that I am safe.
Go ahead and take a deep breath in. Do you have any pain in your body?
Yeah, I always feel the flutteriness. I always get it in my chest. Like sometimes it's in my heart. Like I know it's anxiety, but it's usually like a little bit below my heart, like towards my belly, chest area, and then sometimes in my heart. Sometimes both.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think when you feel that, breath work would be very valuable for you.
Okay.
Going to be very valuable. In the area you're describing, there's a nerve called the vagal nerve, the vagus nerve.
Okay.
And it carries your sympathetic and your parasympathetic responses. Have you ever heard of those before?
I've heard Sammy mention the term, but I don't really know about it a lot. I've just heard the name of it.
Yeah. So you have your sympathetic, which is the reactive, right? Like your nerves are on alert, you're reacting to your environment. And then you have the parasympathetic, that is the resting, right? Like you're in rest. And so I want you to really breathe. I want you to take on a breathing technique for yourself. Research one that works for you. There's several different ones. There's box breathing. There's the executive function breathing, where you take in like 4 breaths, hold it for 7, and exhale for 8. Okay. And Dr. Caroline Leaf will share about breathing. She's someone you could follow, and she's a Christian. And she's have you heard of her before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So yeah, you know all about her then, and she's amazing, and she covers all that kind of stuff with the mind body. So I think breathing is going to be super helpful for you. And it's going to help you practice getting connected and also creating rest for your nervous system. I'd also love for you to start practicing other things. So there's other things you can do for your nervous system, like cold water. Get in a cold bath, go jump. Do you live in Northern California?
Yeah.
Go jump in Whiskey Town. Go jump. Go into Whiskey Town Lake, and when it's cold, and then when it's hot again, just make a cold bath for yourself in your bathtub.
That would be fun.
But that cold water affects the nervous system in a good way. It's like shocking to the nervous system in a way that helps exhaust it a little bit. And obviously, I don't know all the technical, everything about it. So the way I'm explaining it is very simplified and very kindergarten, right? There's a lot to know and learn about this for anyone who wants to have more details and understand the complexities of why and how and all of that. You can look all that stuff up. So polyvagal theory is the vagus nerve and all of that you can learn. And then research, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Research therapies for the nervous system. One of them is, like I said, cold water. They also talked about gargling, and I think because the vagus nerve, it comes out the bottom of your brain and it goes down.
Okay.
And I think because it runs alongside your throat, I think that's why they say gargling will stimulate the nerve in a way that helps calm it. And so I personally haven't tried gargling, so I don't know, but I'm just bringing all of that up to say there's lots of things that can be done on a physical level. I absolutely think you're dealing with physical nervous system issues, right?
Yeah, my body, that's what's been highlighted to me. Like my body's just been screaming like, help me, because I've been doing like the mental, the emotional, the prayer, all the stuff. But like my body's like, what are you going to do for me? Like, what's the solution for me? Yeah.
So every time you eat, I want you to take 7 breaths before you eat.
Okay.
Because eating needs to be something you do for your body, not something you have to do. Okay. And I don't know what eating is like for you, but taking that time, like don't eat in front of the TV, like really be intentional in your eating. This is one of the ways you can show up for yourself, right?
Yeah.
But also taking those 7 breaths to really just engage your nervous system in a way that it knows it's time to relax. It's time to, because digesting needs to be done in a resting position.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be in a resting state when you eat, not in a like hurried state or a high active state, or you'll end up with digestive problems. So that's a little side note. Okay.
Thanks for sharing. That's helpful.
So first of all, my heart is just broken for you when you talked about the dreams lost. And I just, I also, like, my first time in sex was a rape as well. And so I know what that's like. And to have something taken from you, stolen from you, you were robbed. You weren't asked, like nobody asked you, like,
right.
And the lack of safety that you end up feeling when you realize that something so precious can be taken and you don't have any say over it, like, and you feel betrayed even by your own self. You feel so betrayed. You're like, all the shoulds, like I could have done this, I should have done that, all of the things. And even in the aftermath, right? Like all the shoulds that come of, when you wait 7 years, right? And so I just want to just share how much compassion that I have for you and actually how much hope I have for you. Because there's more dreams for you. There's more dreams for you. And I'm really proud of you that you're doing this work. And my desire for you is that you would operate out of compassion and validation and love toward yourself and not performance.
Yeah.
Not trying to be something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in the be healed, right? Like,
right.
I don't even want you to try to be healed. Right? I'd much rather you be exactly as you are and process that with the Lord and be where you're at. You have plenty of time. Any lies that, if there's any lies, like you missed something, you haven't missed. It's not too late. And it's really okay when you're not okay. And that's not going to disqualify you from being loved or being married. You're not disqualified.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're not alone in this process. And you're doing a great job. I don't have anything to coach you on, honestly. I just want to validate you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just feels good to feel safe, like to just be at peace in a community and to not feel like I have to have like the hero testimony, because that's what I wanted, was like, because I want to write a book and I want to, that's like my dream that I feel like is attainable, because I am a good writer and I want to do that. But it's just like, my dream is to love myself, like to love myself now, like that. I think that's the dream that I want to cling on to. Like, that's the dream that's attainable. That's the dream that I want to work on. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. And your worth wasn't tied up in your virginity when it comes to marriage. Yeah. You have so much more to offer than virginity.
That's free. I love it.
So much more, So, thank you for sharing. I would love for you to read the comments, Alexandra, and see how much love and support you have. And I'm so glad you asked the question. Also, I want to bring up, I did some talks last year around May where I called them body talks. And that might be helpful if you go back and watch those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Love you.
You're welcome. Love you. Oh, you ladies. Oh my gosh. Shucks. Maddie, do you have anything you want to add?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. This has been really.
Kathy, are you still on? We have 9 minutes, but we could chat. You were next.
Hey, yeah, I'm still on.
Hey, Kathy.
Hey.
How are you?
Well, I'm good. I've received so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can actually relate a lot to Alexandra, the lady that just shared. Yeah, because mine was taken through, on my 24th birthday. And I was waiting until marriage, and at least I thought I was, and then we were both drinking, and I got tired of saying no, and just kind of happened that way. And then I'm like, well, it's gone, I can't get it back. So I was like, I don't know if I didn't start sleeping around necessarily, but I didn't really care if I had sex after that, because it was already, taken. So
yeah,
so that was just very relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that feel when it's relatable for you? Like, what does that do for you?
Just brings up an old, I guess, I don't know if I just tried to bury it, or if it was just brings up an old wound and an old memory, because that happened, I guess, 27 years ago. But maybe that's been started to spiral of just my lack of safety. I don't feel very safe with men at all. They're very triggering.
Yeah. So yeah. When it's relatable, it's bringing up more pain for you than it is helping.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of both. I guess I can identify with it. It helps to know I'm not alone in that sense. But it is relatable, as like I kind of felt like that was a dream of mine, to be pure, until marriage, and that got taken away. So might as well just, like I said, I didn't care if I slept with somebody after that, you know,
Yeah, that's what I
because
did
it
too.
was already gone. My virginity was gone.
Mm-hmm. Um,
But,
you're breaking up a
yeah,
little bit.
I guess my other thing was um, maybe can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, that's good.
My other thing was I spoke to I know we don't have much time, and that's perfectly okay, but I just didn't feel heard today. I'm kind of switching gears. Should I do that?
Yeah, go for it.
Uh, was talking to, well, uh, a doctor today. He's a new doctor. Basically, he's a psychiatrist for my anxiety and depression, and I just felt like very triggered, like I didn't feel seen or heard, and it's talking about what I've been on for like 20 years. And it was just very triggering for me. I was just bawling and like, I don't know if it's like I need to, like it's a divorce because I've been taking it for so long and I don't want to be on it. But like the last time I tried to come off it, I felt like suicidal. And I told him that. And he's like, well, you can just go to get help for it or the ER. Like he was just not like I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel like my pain, like my pain even mattered to him.
Yeah.
And now he's got me on these, gonna put me on, taper me off that, and then put me on these two other medicines. I'm like, I'm on more medicine now that I don't even want to be on medicine. It's
Yeah.
just the the whole, and actually I started brain spotting per your request. I started that a couple weeks ago.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. So yeah, so I'm hoping I can get to the root, and this program has helped me tremendously. The coaching, every single one of you have helped me through my anxiety and trying to get to the root of it. And I'm hoping the brain spotting will help me get to the root of my trauma,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess can also contribute to the anxiety, right? I mean, yeah, I know I just said a lot.
Right. Well, I just felt like I wanted to bring you on just so, you were next in line and we had some time. I think it's interesting, you didn't feel heard earlier and then you get this opportunity to be heard.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Bless you. Is that Ashley?
Ashley spoke. Is it muted?
That was cute.
But
I mean,
I really love that you get to be heard right
like
now.
medication. Yes. Yeah. I
What were you gonna
know.
say?
I do too. It's like I wish, yeah, I always feel so safe in this community. I was just wondering what your input is on medication versus like, well, hopefully brain spotting will help me resolve some of this anxiety too.
Yeah. I mean, medication, I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I personally don't take medicine. I just struggle taking medicine. I'm not good at remembering to take things, so I don't get on things, but there's also so much that I think doctors just automatically prescribe because they don't know what else to do. And so I think we have to be our best health advocate. We can't rely on other people to do that for us, not even doctors. We can't rely on doctors to know all the options out there because they're not going to take the time to know all the options. They took the time to learn their field and what they know. They're not going to care about the other options that are out there, especially if it's holistic, right? They just don't care about that. And I bring up anything holistic, they're like, they disagree. And I'm like, well, I'm getting more help with a nutritionist than I ever got on your medicines of like heart. What is it? What's the heart one? Blood pressure. Blood pressure and all that other stuff. Like I was able to affect in 7 weeks, I was able to change all of my numbers on my blood test by getting a nutritionist. Like that's what helped me. They actually put me on a hormone pill thinking that was going to help change it. And it ended up putting me in the hospital and I almost died. And so this is where, like, you know, we have to be our health advocate, because we just do, you know, and it's just where it is. It's just where it is. I love that you're trying brain spotting. You know, I don't know what it would look like to have a bad brain spotter. So I'm trying to think of, like, how do you know if it's working for you, or not, you know? And so I think go with your gut. If you don't feel like any movement in a month or two, depending on how often you're going, then I would find a new person.
Okay. You mean with a psychiatrist or with brain spotting?
With brain spotting, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then, you know, with medicine, if you need medicine, it's okay that you need medicine. There's no shame in that. One of my daughters is on an antidepressant,
Right.
you know, and she needs that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on medicine. Right.
Yeah.
I've been on it for for 22 years.
Yeah. So my younger daughter needs it, and that's just what she needs. So
Right.
there's no shame.
Okay.
No shame in either way.
Right.
But I do still believe you need to be your advocate, like, no matter what.
Absolutely. And that's what I was trying to do. And I didn't feel like I was being heard. I'm like, I've been on lorazepam for 20 years. Why are we changing it? It works. I guess there's, you know, because it's, there's another story behind that, being a narcotic, and then the epidemic and all that.
Yep, all of that's changing stuff. And so it's making it harder for people to be on things they need. I feel bad, just my little side rant here. I feel bad for the elderly. They're literally removing elderly off of pain meds that they've been used to for decades. I'm like, why in the hell are you caring about some 70 or 80-year-old man? If he's living his life and he's functioning, like, why are you, oh my gosh, it's just.
I know, right.
Taking him off his pain medicine when he's been used to that. It's just
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. So anyway, but the rules are the rules. They're changing everything, and all doctors are having to change things up. And that's just the way it is. Not even about us. It's not about us as the patient. It's about their rule because of the epidemic. So
yeah, and I was taking it personally as the patient, but thank you for the reminder that it's not so about. I always make it about me, but you're right. It's not.
Such a good reminder. It's not about me. I think most things, honestly, that was one of my hugest breakthroughs, was realizing all the things I thought were about me actually aren't about me. It's like, wow, that's not about me either. So that was life-changing for me, because I also took everything personal. So, you guys.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I love you so much. Thank you, Melanie.
Love you, Kathy. Okay. It's 603, 202. Where in the heck was I getting that? 603. Love you, Sarita. Thanks for the comment. And I love you, ladies. I think you're amazing. I'm going to pass this over to Maddie. 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 All right. Bye, ladies.
Yay. Okay. Throw in the chat if any of you guys resonated. I'm sure we all did, or just pump up your arms however you want. How was this call for you guys? Yeah. Oh, it was so good. Yay. So I am going to turn this off of recording. And then